Halrathine Nyos, you are an evocation master of the Red Wizards, and you're sitting in your study, your private chambers, and a chime that you have enchanted goes off, letting you know that there's someone 4 rooms away who is approaching to speak with you. You know that no one gets in here without them being allowed, but even so, you have these mechanisms in place to ensure that no one ever is able to sneak up on you. But someone is approaching.
I would just look a little perturbed, reading some book, probably outlawed in many other parts of the world, but here in Thay, where there's no real issue with arcane and profane books of knowledge, I'd probably just close the book gently and kind of stand up to my full height, kind of stretch, kind of start rolling my shoulders and kind of rubbing my hands together, getting ready to like absolutely blast whatever fool has dared to come in here.
So another chime goes off as a second chamber is entered, and then the third, and then there is a very, very slight, polite knock.
I would probably like get my hands ready to have one of my kind of arcane pack of goodies just ready to do it. Enter.
As you say enter, the magical door will open at your voice. And you can see one of the members of your guild of spies. He takes one step into the room, he falls onto his knees and puts his forehead onto the floor, awaiting you to tell him to rise.
I'd let him linger there for just a moment, probably a moment longer than should have. But just, if individuals don't learn, then they don't get better. Finally, after watching this fool prostrate himself, I will casually dismiss him. Get up. What do you want?
Dread Lord, I have bad news. And you can say as he says that he does not want to be the one delivering this news to you.
I hear many bad news. And all of those individuals who have given me bad news, for some reason, they don't ever give me bad news again. But such is life and death. What is this bad news you speak of?
And he's like trying to find the words of how to like phrase this as diplomatically as possible without getting himself in trouble.
If you'd like, I know a few arcane rituals, so I may rip the words from your tongue. It would require me ripping the tongue from your head. But if you do not want that, you can at least tell me what it is that you are going to tell me.
Sire, I'm sorry. The attempt to pay a visit to the chambers of the Triarch did not go as pleasantly as we had hoped. And he's trying to like code it, even here in your private sanctum.
I see. So, what happened?
Only one of our friends returned from the visit to the Triarch's chambers. The rest, and he's like struggling. He says, "The rest are dead, Lord. They are tortured and dead, all of them. Only one of them made it back."
Was I implicated in any of this?
No, Lord. They don't know who you are. They don't even know who I am. But still, They were tortured and they were killed. One of them was set free. To tell the tale of what happens to those who cross Triarch Fenn.
Yes. I've heard the tales, I've heard the stories, and I've heard the rumors. Well, this is not a bad thing. See, you were worried over nothing. That is it? Well, they failed? Of course. I sent a few thieves in to try and do a job, and they failed. I expected them to fail. If they succeeded, I would have been shocked. But
His
this is
face
not...
starts to look a little bit less terrified and a little more relaxed. Like he's like, oh, good.
Yes, this is good. Because just because I did not get what I wanted does not mean that I also did not get anything I wanted. You see, the Triarch now is paranoid. And that's a good thing. So now I think it will be time to implement the next stage of this plan once the other two bumbling fools that I have been forced to align myself with get their own plans together. So, as you can tell, I am not angry.
Good, Dreadlord. I am pleased and relieved.
I'll tell you what. You seem that you are in a large amount of fear. Why don't I give you something? I'm going to give you something. Would you like a gift?
He doesn't know how to respond. He looks at the floor, uncertain of what to say. I am unworthy of a gift, Dreadlord, from a luminary such as yourself.
No. Stop. You have served me faithfully, and that is greatly appreciated. I will need individuals like yourself when I become Triarch. Do you understand?
I understand, Lord. I will serve you unto death and beyond if need be.
Good. Very good. Now, a moment. And I'll turn around and I'll start rifling through a few things. It is here. And while I do that, I kind of scratch my neck just a little bit, like just kind of, the old creaking neck. And as I kind of move my hand down, I'm going to pull a star off of my robe. Ah, yes. Here it is. And I'll hold up this silver looking star. This is very special. And I want you to have it. Do you understand?
I do, Lord. Thank you.
Good. I'm going to throw it at him. And that's casting Magic Missile at 5th level.
Oh boy. Just roll me some of those dice.
And so it begins. 1, 2, 3. Oh God, what is this? Hang on a sec. I can only find 3 of my 5, so that's 4, 4, 8, 11. Oops. 11, 15. So that'd be 20 points of damage as just these little arcane bolts of hardened electricity just fire off into him. Just all 5 shots, just bam, 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 bam.
He is thrown back onto the ground, and he's writhing on the ground. He coughs up some blood. He seems to still be alive, but barely.
I'll look down at him. Do you know what I gave you?
No, Lord.
I gave you the gift of life. You are wounded. You will leave. You will heal yourself and you will become more powerful now that you have learned from this mistake. You will take this message to the others and you will ensure that such mistakes are not made again. Because after all, I have great faith in all of you, but I have no faith in failure. Do you understand?
I understand, Lord.
Good. I'll toss him a health potion. Now leave before I finish the job. I'll go back and sit down and read my book again, as if nothing happened.
He like stands and he's like bowing as low as he can. His face is almost on the floor as he like retreats out of the room and the doors swing closed behind him. Aegon, the foul heart, you're a master of necromancy. You're standing before a body recently recovered by one of your agents. It wears black clothing, a black hood. And it has, you can see, terrible scorch marks all over its body. And as you like finish the incantation, its like eyes will like groggily open and this breath will come out. Who calls?
Your master calls.
I am here.
Speak then. What have you seen? What caused you to befall such a fate?
Sorcery. Magic. Greed.
These answers say nothing. Do you remember where you were?
I remember much. I remember being by a stream when I was a child, playing with my father. I remember my first love.
Well, go on.
The moment of my death was one of surprise. We had completed our task when alarms blared and fire consumed us.
And what was your task that you speak of?
To betray the Triarch.
Who did you serve when you were alive?
The Guild.
Well, Aegon, like, puts his hand onto the shoulder of this person, if you can call them that. This burst of this foul energy runs through it as he casts Command Undead, one of his abilities, gaining full control. You serve me now. You are no longer the eyes and the ears of the guild. You are my eyes and my ears.
This vessel serves you, Dread Master.
Good. Now tell me, what did you learn of the Triarch before your death?
She has treasures beyond counting, wards beyond understanding. Her palace is a fortress. She is invincible.
She may seem that way to one such as yourself, but I assure you, even those who seem as gods will still bleed and still die from those who will act as gods against them. I don't expect one such as you to understand these things, given your limited scope. When you're around for a few hundred more years, things will start to make more sense.
It just looks at you with this like slack-jawed expression. Its like mouth is like hanging wide open, jaw loose, with these dead eyes.
Now go, my servant. Find out what you can from the others. Report back to me with everything that you've seen. I need to know more about not only the Triarch's plans, but the others. I know that they're plotting just as she is.
Aye, Lord. It like stands and begins to shamble out of the room.
And Aegon picks up this book from off of his desk. It's just this like almost like sickly rotting leather book. As he opens the pages, the words look like they're scrawled almost in like this thick red blood. It seems to shimmer with each turn of the page. And just begins just
Florian Rasputin, you are a master of divination. You're sitting cross-legged in front of this bowl of water, this sorcerous water that you have summoned, and your hands are like claws above it, like moving around it in circles as you bring into it this image of a bar, this like seedy bar in one of the shittier parts of Eltabbar, the city in which you live. And there's a bunch of like thugs sitting around a table. There's maybe 10 of them. One of them is badly injured. You can see he's lost an eye and an ear and a nose. He's like bandaged up, barely alive. And lots of the others are sitting around him, kind of like looking at him and asking him questions excitedly. And as you kind of like finish the incantation, you begin to hear their voices. You can sense their thoughts.
And he reaches out using his detect thoughts. Can he pass that through this scry? If he can feel
For
the
sure.
thoughts? Yep. Okay. And what does he sense?
So there's tremendous fear from the one who's injured. He's thinking about leaving Thay forever, about going north or west and just never coming back to this place after what he had seen. One of the others says, Hassan, what, where, how, all of you, you were the best of us. And the others are kind of like murmuring in agreement. And he says, could do nothing. She was as a god, unstoppable. Even with our own magics, our enchanted blades, our wicked poisons, we could not harm her. And she summoned demons from the air. And you see a bunch of them like sit back in their chairs and like grasp at like necklaces of holy symbols and stuff like that as he mentions demons.
And as he stares at this and senses these thoughts, hears these words, is he able to, he'd like to probe deeper on that one who spoke those words and try to see if he can see an image of who it is that he speaks of?
Yeah, you don't even need to roll for that, for sure. His mind is weak and you are powerful. And you're able to burrow into his mind and you can see this image of this woman, bald, with like runic and sort of spirally tattoos all over her head, coming up to just under her jawline. This high collar of red and this dramatic red robe covered in runes. She has this staff in her right hand and a blade in the other. And you just see this image of her standing, floating rather in the air, maybe 30 feet up, as she like utters this word. It's too long and not in a language that you can understand. And as she does so, this like gate, this like hole in reality appears, and this huge clawed hand pulls it open, and a demon steps out of it. You know what demons are. This is a Balor. This is the king of demons. It steps out and begins to bring ruin onto the various guild members around this man.
And did he recognize the initial man?
It's a woman, yeah. It was
I'm sorry, a woman.
Yeah, Kharandas Fenn, who was the Triarch.
And he curls his hand into a fist and says, "Damn Fenn. She'll ruin everything. And so I suppose it was always to come to this." And he pushes away from his vision and moves towards some of his more valuable possessions and picks up a long staff and looks back at the scry before walking out of his room.
So the three of you have organized to meet. The streets of Eltabbar, which is where you live, this ancient city, they're laid out in a very particular way. And if you were to fly all the way up and get a view of the city, you would see that it's this very complicated spiral, interconnected with complicated patterns. And it was built this way to entomb a demon prince a long time ago. He has since been freed. But the street pattern has been kept the same way. And so you tend to have in this city, rather than a sprawl, you have upwards. So you have very, very tall shanty buildings for most of the poor people who live here, as well as, of course, the enormous palaces in which the Red Wizards live. You've decided to meet somewhere neutral, a shitty bar in the shanty town, somewhere where you would not be recognized, firstly. You have decided not to come in your red robes. You've done your best to hide the various tattoos that you're wearing to ensure that no one spots three red wizards consorting somewhere secretly. And so you've made your way to this bar. It's awful. It is pathetic. You are used to opulence. Everywhere that you go, everything you look at is opulent. From the palaces that you live in to the streets that you walk on, which are perfectly clean. In the upper part of the city, this is a different place entirely. People will bump into you even, which up there would mean instant death, but here they don't recognize you as their dread lords. And so you've made your way individually to this bar, and you're sitting around a table now, in a sort of awkward silence, as a young woman comes over to the table. "What can I get you?"
I would like wine, red, preferably not something in a dirty glass.
Good luck with that.
Yes, I will have the same, only never mind the glass. It won't matter anyway.
And for you, sir?
The same as them for now.
3 red wines, of course. And she gives a wink and walks over to the bar.
All right. Well, we are all here. Let us make plans. How do we take her out?
We will first need to know where she is, I should say. I believe I could handle that.
Well, I think it would be a good idea, not knowing where she is, but bringing her to us. You cannot let a creature that powerful as the Triarch stay in her palace where all of her toys are. We need to draw her to a neutral ground, a neutral place, somewhere where we could deal with her there.
Yes, to fight her in her own grounds would be death.
No, it would be stupid. There is a quarry, if memory serves me correctly, just outside the city. If we could grease the right palms, we could let it be known that a powerful magical artifact was found while digging for stone. That might draw the Triarch to the quarry. And then, when the Triarch is in the center, then we strike.
How well do you know this place?
I am Halrathin Neos. I am death walking on two legs. Why would I dirty myself in a quarry? Of course, I do not know this place.
I believe if we are to be doing the choosing of the battleground, it would be wise to take advantage of all that it offers, such as familiarity.
It's a quarry. It steps down into a pit.
Here's your wine, gentlemen. She like bumps in to you, into your elbow, Harlathine, and like places the 3 wooden cups of wine onto the table. That'll be 3 coppers, please.
I just give her 3. Actually, I give her a silver, and I look at her. Like as she goes to grab it, I still hold on to it. You will not bother us, and these will keep flowing. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure. I understand. So,
Good. Go away.
Well, no need to be rude. She kind of mutters to herself as she like leaves.
I think I'm going to buy this place to burn it down. Especially with all the staff still inside of it. Anyway. That is here nor there. So.
Do you really think this Triarch is foolish enough to go wandering into this quarry on her own? What's stopping her from just sending her henchmen to go pick up this mystical artifact?
She is
the person we're up against here is not stupid.
Of course not. But she is greedy. As we all are. A powerful artifact. Of course we would want to take it for ourselves. Maybe even let it slip that we are planning on taking it. One of us. Maybe we go down. She comes out herself. One of us will be bait. Obviously not me.
Of course not you. And let me guess. He looks over to Florian. Not you either, and not me.
Florian kind of stares into his wine and says, I have seen the future, and I can see, no, I will not be this bait.
Well, somebody has to be. If one of us does this, then I think it will work out quite well. But if we do not, then what? A frontal assault on her palace? It would be suicide. Be foolish.
Of course. To be quite plain, I don't think that I would make good bait. I think you would be much more suited to it. You're the one with the temper. After all, you'd be more concerned of you than any of us.
I see. You are worried that I'm going to become the Triarch, and you feel that I am threatening to you. Is that
just
it?
Thought I'd leave you the bottle. She like walks back over and like puts a bottle onto the table. Since you were so generous, so I'd leave you the bottle so I wouldn't be bothering you anymore. Hope that's okay.
I don't even I'm just staring at the two of them, and I just kind of do the thrust out a gold piece, and it's like, my patience has limits, woman.
She looks to the gold piece as if that's the most money she's ever seen in her entire life. and like looks to the two that she can see. So she's standing behind you, Harley. She looks at the other two, like, is this legit? And then like takes the gold coin and just like backs away from the table.
Yes, I'm going to buy this place. I'm going to torture both the staff members. Then I'm going to burn it down. No, I'm going to torture them and I'm going to burn it down while I'm torturing them. Yes, yes. Anyway.
You hand money to those you say you hate. You have a very weird way of showing your animosity.
Not at all. You see, you lull them into a false sense of security. You make people feel good. You make them happy. Then when you crush their souls and their spirits and break their bodies upon the power of your arcane abilities, only then would you have truly dominated them. You would, of course, know this if you hadn't been gazing into your crystal ball to try and figure out things that already come to pass.
And this is why... yes.
Displaying your arcane power. You're talking about commoners serving drinks in a tavern. Is your ego so fragile that you have to exert your arcane force over those who can barely afford the freaking dirt off of the ground?
They are vermin. They're animals. What does it matter to you? Ah, but you need more subjects. I tell you what. After I burn them to death, you may use their charred corpses as you see fit. Consider that my gift to you.
What a generous gift you offer, as if I needed your help.
Well, I think we should maybe stop arguing, get to the business at hand, or we will be here all day. The Triarch will continue to gain more and more power.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. But is this quarry business the only plan we have? I do not know if I like putting things so firmly in your court, my friend.
Let us not make magic here. We are not friends, but we each have a common goal. The Triarch is too powerful. She needs to go. So, if this quarry idea does not work, what else is going to work? What else? Somebody give me some kind of an idea.
Could I roll a history check to find out if I know anything about the Triarch on any sort of level?
Really?
Okay, well, I have plus 10, and that makes it a 12.
Oh, wow. So for 12, you know that she is utterly tyrannical, cruel to the point of insanity, like even for a red wizard, but like brutally efficient, is known to have unraveled several conspiracies against her before. Is like known to have a knack for understanding when people are trying to get her, which is why you are being so careful. But I don't think you know any more than that for a 12.
Fenn is paranoid. We know that. And we also know that she likes it when things go her way. So I say we gum up the works a little bit. Bring her out, or at least somebody close to her, and then seize the opportunity. And he'd be implying, I'm not sure what kind of normal city works there are, but something that she would be responsible for and hate to have slowed up by outside obstacles.
There's a man sitting at a table nearby, and he's like looking with a raised eyebrow, and he's kind of like muttering quietly to a person next to him. He's seen the gold coin flash, and he's like looking at your table. You don't look like warriors or like even tough people. You look like merchants or something who have wandered into the wrong bar. And you can see that there's like a little bit of a mutter going around some of the tables, some of the rougher customers eyeing you up.
Perhaps I've said too much. We seem to have drawn a fair bit of attention.
Doesn't help that Mr. Moneybags over here is tossing around gold like it's candy.
I think it is time that we go. Listen to me. The Triarch is going to the Thay Mount in 2 days' time. Will be 9 neophytes with her. There's a good chance it's going to be a demonic ritual. I suggest we follow and we do what we must. This is in 2 days, so prepare yourselves. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think we need to take care of one. Well, I think we should just walk away before something happens and I lose my temper, because I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable with the individuals around us. Now, let us go. We'll send you messages as need be.
You can see that 2 burly men have stepped in front of where the door is, and they're having a conversation, but they're definitely doing it deliberately to ensure that you can't leave the bar, while others are like moving around the bar, kind of getting on all sides of you.
Just a quick question. Can I tell which one the leader is, or at least which one the one that thinks they're the most brave?
Sure. I think for someone of your power, it's easy to guess. There's like one of them that still has all his teeth, and both of his eyes still, so you think it's probably him. He's still got a head of hair.
Okay. I'm going to look at that one. And I'm just going to reach into kind of like a small bag. I'm going to grab a few items. And I'm just going to look at them. And I'm just going to kind of start muttering to myself while kind of rubbing my hands with this kind of like kind of this, whatever this is. It's like a little pinch of like lime and water and earth kind of in my hands. And I'm just kind of looking at him, and what he needs to do is he's going to need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. What is your DC?
19.
Oh boy. Well, he failed that.
All right. He'll probably, and actually, if you can make just one more.
Okay, sure. Yep, fails that too.
As he's talking and smiling, he starts to feel like his joints are just getting a little stiff. Like he maybe tries to stretch, but he feels like he's getting like it's getting harder and harder for him to move. And anyone else who would be looking around or seeing this guy would notice that his arm is just like starting to seize up and kind of like hold out before him, and it's starting to lock, and his skin is starting to turn like kind of a pallid gray, and he's starting to like kind of see almost like as if he's having a seizure, but he's not. His whole arm is starting to like turn to stone. His whole arm, like straight up to his whole body is just starting to lock into place. And he looks like he's trying to catch a breath. And in his last moment, he kind of reaches his hand out towards the individual who he knows is doing something. And his whole body just completely turns to stone.
So as like that transformation is almost complete, you will see that everybody in the bar like drops to their knees and puts their foreheads on the ground.
No, please. Rise. Rise, everyone. All of you. Please rise.
There's like this awful silence as the entire bar doesn't know what to do. They're in the presence of like the girl, for example, who had like talked so cheekily to you. Her face is totally pale and she's like on the ground and shaking in terror. And the whole bar is just like rooted to the floor in fear.
You will all get up or you will all die.
there's like a sudden like shake as everyone stands. Everyone's
Good.
looking at the ground.
I reach into my hand and I reach into my my pouch and I pull out this little like kind of dollop of clay. You know, I can understand. And I'm just kind of like modeling this clay a little bit. I can understand that you see 3 people come in, kind of look at it, kind of like hold it up to the guy who's turned to stone. And, you know, there's some fear there. You think to yourself, hey, these 3 individuals would make a fine mark. But, no, the legs aren't quite right. But you see, you made a small, tiny error. You did not realize that if 3 people come into a garbage establishment just like this, oh, that's good, and they start passing around money, that perhaps there is something more to it than that. Now look at your friend. And I kind of point to the individual who's now petrified. And I hold up this little clay kind of like idol that looks very much like him. Now let me show you something. And I just kind of hold my hand out to the petrified stone statue, and I just kind of pull what seems to like pull this kind of like small thread, this small ethereal thread, and I attach it to the to this clay sculpture, and I hold it in my hand, and I'm casting shape stone, and as I hold the clay, I just crush the clay, just like feeling the wet blobbiness kind of crush, and as you see it, his whole statue just begins to crack, snap, break, and just melt into this ball. And I just drop the clay. I kind of throw the clay onto the ground and it just kind of splats. And same with this big, like now pancake, messed up, busted thing of stone with like one arm kind of jutting out in that same pose. Next time someone comes in and maybe throw some money around, maybe that might make you think. I think it's time we should go. And I'll just turn around and walk out the door.
There's those 2 guys are still standing in front of the door and they don't know what to do. Like they're standing there and they're too afraid to move out of the way because you haven't told them to. And so they're standing there and they're like, eyes are on the ground and they're like visibly shaking, but they don't know if they should move or not because you haven't commanded it.
Get out of my way, or you will die. And I will ensure that you get brought back to life and be killed again and again and again until I'm finished with you.
They instantly leap out of the way and then they put their foreheads on the ground, like prostrating themselves before you.
I just walk out of the door.
Aegon follows behind him as well. Just your ego and your temper will be the death of us.
Your cautiousness will be the death of us.
Florian kind of pulls up his robes and just kind of sidesteps around a few of these kneeling people out the door and shakes his head. Subtle you are not, my friend.
You can have 1,000 inspiration, Mike, because that was fucking rad.
18th level, baby. Man, spells. Damn spells.
So terrifying. Okay, so you guys walk out into the street and back to your respective palaces. You know that in 2 days, the Triarch is going up to the Thay Mount, which is actually a mountain range, but there's you would know of it. There's a particular peak that has this ziggurat, which is often used for like summoning rituals or like communing rituals. You probably would have done something there yourself at one stage, or gone as a neophyte maybe with a master. it's this like stepped pyramid. It's got on the top this like floating stone circle, which is used to kind of like focus gate style rituals. So you have 2 days in which you can piss around or you can prepare, whatever you choose. And whenever you're ready, you tell me and we'll do the thing.
I'll just need it. Well, the one spell I had told you that that I'll be casting, it already cast, so the 24 hours on that one. And also
if you guys want to, if it's secret, you can message me as well. That's fine. If it's like you don't want the other players to know, you can do that.
I mean, I have no issue, but I'll be casting just the day before. I'll be casting contingency, and I just want to make sure. I want to double check. I just want to double check how long contingency lasts for.
10 days.
Oh wow! Hey, oh my! All right. Yeah, I'll cast contingency, and it'll be see invisibility. And it'll be in case of anyone turning invisible.
Yep. No problem.
Yeah, I already made my preparations of that sort.
And Florian would like to take almost the full amount of time. He'd be scrying like several times a day, trying to get some basis of his opponent, where she goes, things she does, just whatever information he can about her.
So I think you would know that scrying on the Triarch is almost impossible. She is so careful and so paranoid that she would, like, you would be able to scry on her when she's in the street, for example, maybe, but like other than that, anytime that she's speaking about business or anything like that, she would be well warded and things like that. She would always have magical protections around her and stuff like that. So you might be able to occasionally get a glimpse of her as she like walks, outside of the palace for 1 second to cross into another part of the palace. You would like see her always flanked. Actually, this is one thing you would see in your various attempts to scry on her. Most of the time as you do so, you would just get like this like blankness or like a blur or something like that. And you might even get a little bit of pain as you like try to scry on her. But the few times that you do manage, you can see that she's always flanked by 2 warriors. And you're savvy enough to know that these appear to be half demon or perhaps half fiend, something abyssal or hellish. They both have horns, for example. They both have wings. They're both dressed in this black plate, and they follow her everywhere she goes.
And besides that scrying, you would kind of see over the next day some younger mages coming into the room and out. He would be, Florian is having people gather some of the more difficult to acquire components, knowing what lies ahead. He wants to make sure that he is fully prepared.
No problem. Is there anything else you guys would like to do?
Just one quick question. Maybe actually one of you guys also knows. Is sunstone it's just one of those little rocks, right? And you like throw it up against something and it just kind of, I think that's what a sunstone is.
I have no idea what a sunstone is.
I'm not actually sure either, yeah.
Yeah. Needless to say, I will make sure that all the components I got are gotten sure. Good. And yeah, other than casting contingency, that's pretty much all I'm gonna do.
Okay. And do you guys want to meet again, or do you want to commune some way, or do you want to talk about anything, or do you just want to meet on the way and figure it
out? Well, I would. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you want to meet in person one more time? I plan to cast. I was going to do it right when we met each other again, but I believe it lasts for several days. But I have telekinesis to communicate to each other.
Telepathy.
Telepathy. I'm sorry. Oh no, actually, it's much less time.
Can't remember if I even have that. Do I have that spell? So when you're an 18th level wizard,
Yes.
I do
yes,
not have that spell.
I do actually.
definitively say so.
I am going to, and what this would probably be is I may cast this spell, probably on all three of us, probably about 10 minutes before like shit actually goes down, and it'll be telepathic bond.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So it'll be 1 hour of telepathy for up to 8 creatures, any distance. So we could go like 50 miles from each other. It doesn't matter. We've got the telepathy. The telepathy. So we'll be able to like shoot the shit and talk about boys and stuff, whatever.
Now I do have a question, because I think that all of you have the ring of mind shielding. I don't know that you can communicate telepathically.
You can choose to allow telepathic
Okay.
communication.
Sure.
So you can choose to block it, and you can choose to accept it.
Okay, then that's all. If that is all, the prep and stuff like that, you would meet then 2 days hence, just before dawn, at the northern gate of Eltabbar. You would obviously be traveling in style. It's up to you, really. You could walk if you want, but if you want, you could have a palanquin of slaves who could carry you, or you could like create something magical if you wanted to like fly there. It's really up to you. It is a bit of a journey, but it's not beyond your power to just teleport there if you like.
I think Florian would teleport nearby, but he would be first seen walking, kind of using his long quarterstaff there as a sort of crutch, just kind of milling along, looking sort of extra feeble.
So kind of projecting a false image of weakness. The rest of you, I would assume that Harlequin is not going to be walking, that he would have like a throne perhaps carried by 100 slaves, something ostentatious like that.
Actually, no. I would actually try to be a little bit more austere. So I'd probably just show up, and I'd have a hood over. I wouldn't be wearing like my most ostentatious robe. It would just be like a black robe with a bunch of stars on them, and these like 6 large stars kind of around the neck. And I would just be carrying kind of a staff, like an old kind of gnarled looking staff with like a geometric pattern, like kind of like made out of the wood as if it grew into itself. And I'd have the hood pulled over my head.
Okay, no problem. And then Aegon, are you going to be walking, or are you going to have some sort of sled pulled by zombies, or what do you think?
Well, I can cast Misty Stems as I want, so I think it would be more teleportation. Probably be faster and easier.
Yep, Nightcrawler
Once we
style.
did get within a certain thing, yeah, just kind of moving place to place, teleporting where you can.
Okay.
Remote would tone it down on them for a little bit. Walk the rest of the way, just to ensure that he's not giving away any unnecessary information.
Am I right in thinking that you guys are not wearing your robes of office? You're not wearing your red wizard paraphernalia?
No. I wear dirty old clothes.
Yeah, Aegon's got like these like almost just these like black like hooded cloak. He's wearing a mask. It looks like it's made of iron, but it's it's almost more of a color than an iron color now. All of that on instead of his red robes.
Sure. So then you guys begin your journey to the Thay Mount. You can walk through the blistering heat of Thay. It'll probably take you a couple of hours to walk to the base of this mountain. You'll have to climb it, although for you, I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. You can use whatever spells you feel like. I don't even think that it won't make you cast spells to like not have to troll up a mountain. It's like so within your power. So you can get there within maybe 4 hours of walking, and then you begin the climb up the mountain. You can see maybe an hour into that climb already this floating circle and the ziggurat at the top of this peak. You know that it's ancient. It's definitely not made by red wizards. It's older than that. It's a pyramid. It's got 4 staircases, north, south, east, and west. And at the top of it, there's like this large plateau. There's 4 columns that reach up on each corner, going about 60 feet up. And at the center, there's this like sort of recessed, almost like an amphitheater. And in the center of that, there's this floating stone sort of circle. And that is often where the summoning would take place. So as you approach, what side of the pyramid are you going to approach from? Are you going to fly over, or what's the approach? You can hear chanting from up above, although you cannot see yet. The pyramid goes up about 100 feet.
If one of you has the ability to fly above, that would be perhaps the best way.
Aren't you the one to be able to see and hear everything anywhere?
But
Why do I have to fly?
we don't need to see them or hear them. We need to kill them.
Well, I cannot fly, but at least I can throw something at them and kill them from afar. Though I prefer to look at what I destroy.
Yes, I could scout it out a bit before we do anything. I just need a few moments.
Good, well hurry up.
And Florian would just take out a bit of this fine-looking fur from a small pouch at his waist, and he would stick it in his mouth, and he would start to chew it, and then he would start to mumble these odd words, and then open his mouth, and an eyeball would kind of float out, and he would begin to send it in the direction of the ritual.
So this is Arcane Eye, is it?
Yes.
Sick. You can have inspiration. That's cool.
Thank you.
Awful and disgusting, but I love it. So this eye like just like flits out of your mouth and like begins flying up the pyramid. It's invisible, I think, right? The eye.
Yes.
Yeah. So it like flies up, and like you can see that at the base or at the bottom of this amphitheater, there is this stone circle. It floats about 10 feet above the ground. This circle itself is about 30 feet across. And there is a sort of shimmer at the center, this sort of reddish shimmer. And you can see that there are 9 neophytes, and you can see from their robes that they represent each of the different schools. And they're like arrayed in a perfect line in front of it. They're all chanting. Standing behind them by about 60 or so feet is the Triarch. She is bedecked in all of her finery, this beautiful robe of the Magi, this like relic, this incredibly powerful robe. that is given to the Triarch, or has always belonged to the Triarch, usually taken from the dead Triarch by the new one. She has a staff in her right hand, and you can tell, even just by looking at it for a second, that this as well is a relic, an incredibly powerful item. And she has a blade, like a sword, at her left hip that's in a scabbard. She has her hand out in front of her, and she is also chanting. And standing behind her by about 10 feet are these two half-demonic creatures, both dressed in this like smoking black plate mail. And their eyes are everywhere, looking around for any sort of threat. They're not focused on the ritual, they're focused on protecting her.
And Florian would just direct the eye to kind of rise above and stay there, and he would look back to his companions and just say, "She's there with her half-blooded bodyguards as usual. I've seen them with her everywhere she goes. The ritual is in effect, and while she observes it, they keep a keen eye. Approach will not be easy, and stealth will be hard to achieve."
That might not be necessary. And I don't know if you want me to make a roll for this or if I would just know, but would this ziggurat have a teleportation sigil in it?
That's a good question. A really good question. I will say you can make an Arcana roll with advantage to find out. But the DC is super high.
All right, so I rolled a 10 on the die, which to a 23.
This is so dumb. What? So you know that there is a teleportation circle. You also know that if there's a ritual or like a summoning thing happening, the teleportation circle is in the circle. So if you cast it now, it would interrupt their ritual and you would appear out of the circle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and Aegon would just look over. He like looks over to Hallerthine specifically. A flashier entrance, more disruptive. There is a portation sigil in the middle of their ritual circle. I can open a gateway to it. We can all step through. And we would be there. No stealth, no flying.
May I?
Needed.
How? Neos, I do not know if they would leave the ritual site, but if we could perhaps get them to come here while one or two of us were to go there, we may be able to catch her without her bodyguards.
Do you honestly think that these two powerful demon creatures would ever leave her side? Of course not. The neophytes, the sad, pathetic little creatures, they would probably leave. But she would never let her demon bodyguards abandon her. I do have one idea. You wish to make an entrance, yes?
Seems easier to go directly in than it does to try to sneak around. There's no way that it's not warded or trapped.
I can start this party off with a bang. And if that's the case, I will need to at least have enough line of sight so I can hit them all. How far away are they from each other?
Looking at it, you can see the neophytes are standing 10 feet apart, and there's 9 of them, so they basically stretch 90 feet, while the Triarch is 60 feet back from where they are, and the demon bodyguards are 10 feet behind her.
Okay. I will then, if I can get close enough to, okay, if we go through this teleportation thing, it's going to go like it's going to send us off like away from the area, right? Like it'll send us into a spot that's kind of away, like out
It'll
of the
put
way.
us right in the middle of their circle.
Yeah, so they're summoning from a circle that's in front of them, floating in the air, right? And the teleportation circle is within that. So like it's a magical focus, this circle of stone. And so that's where the teleportation circle is. So it would interrupt the ritual they're doing and replace that gate that they're summoning with a teleportation circle of which you would step out of.
Oh, let's do this shit.
I've lived a long time exactly by avoiding these such maneuvers. However, we have limited choices.
Just remember. Let's just
Triarch will
remember.
be
You wear red, not yellow on your back.
Yes, the Triarch will be ready for us to approach from any angle. As much as I prefer caution, in this instance, aggression is the best caution. And he begins inscribing these just strange glyph patterns in this circular pattern around them. It'll take about a minute for him to inscribe them all.
Now, I will say this, is that what I'd like to do, Lloyd, is as I want to cast a spell as soon, and let me just double check. Yep, it is instantaneous. I'd like to cast a spell as soon as I go through the teleportation circle.
Okay. So you're readying an action, right?
Yeah, I'm readying a spell, basically.
Sure.
Yes, and in that same vein, just before I step through, I would like to cast Blade Ward on myself, which will just require me to trace a sigil in the air just before I walk through.
So then with that, Aegon will, as pushing up this circle, little muddy words, grass in the area will like start to wither and die, like plants will just completely fall apart, almost covers this circle. See the parts where the ash falls upon the runes that they glow with us, almost like sickly black and red. And then just circular part in the air. It's almost as if like space is rotting away and dying, and behind it, this new, just within the world, you can see it's like looking out at the circle to these neophytes and this triad that appears.
Just one quick minor retcon. I would have cast Mage Armor on himself. I mean, I think that kind of just would have, yeah.
Fine. I can assume that you guys would have cast, I could say you definitely would have cast at least one protector spell on yourself before going through this portal.
All right, so I'm readying this spell. Let us kill a Triarch. And I step through, and as soon as I step through, am I in the middle of the circle? Or is it like one of those, like I'm now in like 20,000 pieces and I'm all dead?
No, it worked. Yeah, you can hear.
Holy shit.
You can hear though, like as these like demonic blades are drawn, and you can hear like chaos as the neophytes are like, Triarch.
As soon as I do it, I'm going to cast Sunburst right at the Triarch and the demons. Like basically, it's a 60-foot radius, so it's going to catch some of the neophytes and the Triarch and her two demon schmucky schmucks. And each one of them needs to make, it's going to double check here, need to make a con save.
Okay. Con save. I'm just going to look at what that spell does to decide if the Triarch is going to like make the right decision here. What's it called? Sunburst?
Sunburst, it's an 8th level evocation spell.
I haven't heard of it. Holy fuck! That's rad. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that's great. Let me just roll 1,000 dice. Okay. So I'm going to say you can catch 5 of the neophytes.
Okay.
Your DC
I'll
is
tell you
19.
what, yeah. While you're rocking and rolling that. I'm just going to roll the damage.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, so the neophytes all fail, but the demons and the Triarch both succeed. You can see like the Triarch's robes, you can see like certain runes light up as the spell begins to affect her, and obviously it's like somehow helping her resist.
All right, so the neophytes all take 46 points of radiant damage and are blinded for 1 minute. All the ones that were affected. The Triarch takes 23 points of radiant damage and is not blinded. And now I'm not sure if the demons are either not resistant, but if they take more damage because it's radiant, or if it's just
vulnerable, so they'll take the full damage, right? Basically.
All right, so yeah, so then they'll take 46. Each one will take 46 radiant damage, and I guess since they saved, they aren't, or they are blinded. I don't know.
I assume they're not blinded.
Okay.
Yep, takes half damage and isn't blinded. Cool. So you step through, and there's just like they're like looking at the gate, like in confusion, like what is happening. And then as they look, the sun like appears in the gate, and the brightness is so intense, and you can see like all of these 5 neophytes who are standing right in front. They all like bring their hands to their eyes, and they're just like, "Oh God!" And then all hell breaks loose. Please roll initiative.
While Lloyd rolls initiative for about 1,000 people, allow us to entertain you with some elevator music. Do 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 do. Okay. Oh, we good? We're good now? Okay.
No, keep going. I'm still doing it.
Oh, okay. Do 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 do. And for all you don't know, the name of that song is "The Boy from Ipanema." Boy from Ipanema. There you go.
We know.
Girl from Ipanema.
Is it girl?
Ooh.
You know what? It's a boy from Ipanema now. Okay? It's 2017, man. Why, Jeff? Why?
You're right.
Spell Harlequin for me there, please. Harlequin. I'm just going to guess. Okay.
Halrathine. Actually,
Halrathine, okay.
But you know what, Neos? That's why I took the really short last name. So I'm like, screw it. You know what? It sounded ostentatious, so I better have a short last name. At least that way, someone can say something like, "You, Neos, you schmuck."
Fucking list, Jesus Christ!
Holy shit!
Oh my God.
Okay. So you step through the portal, Florian. You are the first to react. You can see like the neophyte and these 2 demonic creatures already like getting ready to act. While many of the neophytes are like gripping their eyes in pain, and it is your turn to act.
So Florian will he'll crush something in his hand, and by the time he releases it, there's this shimmering chromatic orb in his palm, and he kind of spins to move towards where there are the fewest enemies and launches this chromatic orb at the closest neophyte to him.
Sure.
Okay. And that is a 2. Plus my attack, so it's a 12.
So 12 is actually going to miss. So it's just like this sudden, and it flies just past the head of this neophyte who like moves deftly out of the way, just barely escaping it. Is that it for you?
I'm gonna try to just kind of look around and see, like maybe he has. I do have the feat observant, so I have high passive perception. Do I note it? Can I just get a feel for what exactly is in my immediate surroundings?
Yeah, so there's the 9 neophytes who are standing in a line. I imagine that you've come out and kind of run to the left where there's the or the right, whichever, basically to a side, so the neophytes aren't all in front of you, but they're in a line separated by 10 feet. 9 of them. Neophyte is like a middling level spellcaster. Like a neophyte for a red wizard is probably like an archmage in other parts of the world. They're like young for Thayan standards, and like, but they're not a threat to you, but there's 9 of them, so who knows. And then 60 feet from that, at the back, the Triarch looks just like rage made manifest. Her face could kill, like that look. And the 2 kind of demonic gentlemen standing behind her have like drawn these. One of them has a huge spear, the other one has drawn a sword, and they're just like looking, and their eyes narrow.
Okay, and he just curses because he missed. And yeah, that is my turn.
Okay. Oh boy, the Triarch. Okay. Okay, so she is going to. Just give me 1 second here. I've got a paralysis. Okay. Yep. So she begins to wave her hands around. She lifts the staff up in her hand and she begins to chant, "Precis alia ferro." And then what actually happens is she casts Time Stop. But for you, a portal appears next to her and a fire elemental steps out of it. And she is covered in protective runes. There are 4 of her. And you can see that there's like various protective spells swirling around her. So that is her action. And she is going to move back from where the demons are. So move her movement back, and that's going to be her turn. Irgal the Black is one of these demonic creatures. He flaps his enormous wings and is going to go and try and murder one of you. Let's see which one it is. 3. That's Florian. So this thing with 2 flaps of its enormous wings and just like stands next to you and is going to rip you a new one, I'm afraid. 3 attacks. Okay, so the first one is going to connect. What's your armor class? It's not outrageously high, is it?
It's not. I have a 12, but when I'm holding my staff that I have, it goes up by 2, which makes it 14.
Okay. Okay, so then it's going to slash with its sword once for 15 slashing damage.
Okay.
The second attack actually goes wide as you like are hit with the first one. You like move your body unwillingly, and the second one like sails over your head, and the third is going to hit, and it's going to do 10 slashing damage.
Okay, so I cast Blade Ward, so I'm resistant to slashing. So
Okay,
I should
perfect.
take half that, I believe.
Excellent. Yep, so it slashes at you 3 times. 2 of them connecting. And that is its turn. Neophyte Avine is going to. Yep, she's going to look at Nios, and she's going to cast a spell. I'm going to need you to make a save, Mike. I'm going to tell you in 1 second what it is. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
All right, give me a sec. I got advantage on that. It's quite lovely. She's quite lovely. Nice. All right, that's a 21.
Yeah, okay, so you can feel like this, you're such an expert, you can tell that it's like transmutation magic as she like points her fingers and curls them at you, but you're easily able to like ward it off. You like mutter a word under your breath and send the spell aside. Aegon.
Aegon steps through the portal. It closes behind him, shutting off the teleportation spell automatically. As he does so, he reaches his arm out towards this half-demon creature, not the one that just flew up towards Florian, but the one that's still closer to the Triarch. As he does so, he begins muttering these words, just this black speech, this almost demonic sounding. It actually is speaking abyssal. As he speaks these words, it almost starts to zoom in towards this demon's ears, almost as if he's whispering to it from across the battlefield. As he does so, the book in his hands begins to like flutter open automatically, and just Aegon's entire visage just turns black. Just this sickening aura of death and evil that surrounds him. As I use my book, needs to make a wisdom saving throw against my DC, which is 21.
Oh boy. Okay. It actually fails that, even with advantage.
So the power of the book aids Aegon, and his force becomes dominant over this demon, and he begins to whisper demonic words into its ears of the demise of the Triarch, and that will actually be dominate monster.
Shit, son.
So the demon that is closest, that hasn't acted yet, is now completely bound to me telepathically and will follow my orders, and my orders are to kill the Triarch.
Hey, nice. Good call. What is the situation with saving throws on that? Does it get to make it again, or every time it takes damage? I see. Okay. Okay, no problem.
And then after that, Aegon will movement to run behind. And then I don't know. I guess I'll just ask you on a technical level, since it was ability cast from book, a spell for the purposes of a bonus action spell, or no? Cool either way.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch all of that. Do you mean like because the book cast it, does it count as a spell you cast?
Yeah, because if I'd like to Misty step backwards to create a little distance, but if that's off the table, cool.
Well, if the book casts a spell, because you can do it with the staff of the Magi and staff of power, so I think it's fine if the item casts a spell. So you can still cast a spell.
Okay, yeah. You would Misty step as well to create 60 feet of distance between him and two companions as he whispers demonic words into this ear.
No problem. Yep, so there's like a poof, poof, and you appear further away. Okay, Halrathine.
Oh my. All right, so I'm going to have a look. From where I'm standing, I want to cast a spell that has a 60-foot cone, and I want to get as many mofos as I possibly can in it.
Okay, so if that's a good question. You could step back a little bit and get like 5 neophytes, or you could step forward and get one of the demons and the Triarch, or you could like run, like if you moved to the left or to the right, basically to the end of the line, you'd be able to get you'd be able to get 6 of the neophytes.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to get all the neophytes,
Okay.
or at least all the ones that I can.
Yep.
And I'm going to cast a spell, and basically I reach in and I grab what looks to be just like this, like ice cold, like this water, just holding this water above my head, and I kind of swirl it around, and I just kind of hold up and I just blast it out, and I'm casting Cone of Cold. However, I'm going to use this thing I can do. So there's this thing, and it's called Overchannel. And it's when casting a 5th level spell or lower, it will do maximum damage. Don't even have to roll.
Oh, God.
Now, I can only use it once per long rest, But if I use it more than once, you get to roll dice for me. It's great.
Sick.
So they all have to make con saves of 19.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. 3, 6, 3, 9. Okay. Yeah, one of them makes a save.
Okay. The ones that fail take 69 damage.
Wizards. What?
And because here's another funny little thing. So, hey, gang, you want to be an evocation wizard? You want to be powerful? You know, at a certain level, you get to add your int modifier to damage from evocation spells. Who knew? So that's kind of a thing. So all of them. So yeah. So whoever. So 69. Half of 69 would be what? 34 and a half.
34?
So 35.
Yeah.
All right. So whoever the one person that saved it, who isn't frostbitten to their soul, has taken 35 damage.
Okay. Can you roll me 6 d10s, please?
6 d10s.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. I need more dice. Here's another thing, kids. You want to play a wizard? Get dice. Get all the dice. Here, I'll just use it. Where's my D60? All right, so we got 10.
Individual numbers.
Oh, you want the individual numbers?
Yeah, it's for system shock.
Ah, right. Okay, so 10.
Okay, so let me do this one at a time. So he cannot take reactions. Next.
8.
He also cannot take reactions.
I got 2 5s.
Okay, 2 of them are stunned.
A 6.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that can't take reaction has disadvantage on all ability checks and attack rolls.
And a 1.
Okay, one of them just straight up dies.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so you unleash this incredible blast of power, and like there's like frost everywhere. You can see like a bunch of the plants up here just like freeze and crack. You can see like breath in front of people as they breathe, and there's like a noticeable like drop in the temperature on top of the mountain. That's how intense this spell was. One of them is frozen solid completely, and then shatters. While 2 of them are like so heavily frozen that they cannot move and won't be able to till the start of the next turn. The rest of them have been like shocked and blasted. And yeah, there is chaos. Oh my goodness, that was rad. Okay, so that was that. Is that the end of your turn, Mike?
You want more?
Please no.
Because I mean, I don't think. Here's another question now. Is it when you have items that can cast spells? Is that in lieu of casting a spell, or can you just do that as well?
It takes your action to do the thing.
It still takes an action.
But
okay,
it's casting the spell. So that's how, for example, you can cast 2 spells. If you had a staff that can cast a spell, it's the same situation basically, but you could like cast a spell that's a bonus action and a spell from the staff, for example, as opposed to a spell and a cantrip.
All right, cool.
Okay, so Fingral the Red, this other demonic creature is like slavering, and it's listening to the foul whispers in its ears. What is it going to do? Attack the Triarch?
Yep, that's it. That's the simple goal. So I can only directly like control it if I take an action to do so, but I can give it like a course of action, and my course of action is attack the Triarch. So whatever that means to it.
Yep.
Is what
it do. Turns and marches towards her and is going to swing its spear in her direction. This probably will go poorly for it. So it does. So you see it goes and like stabs right through the throat of the Triarch, and one of the mirror images disappears. It swings again, and another one vanishes, and a third time, and the third one vanishes. So it's destroyed 3 of the mirror images, and the Triarch just like looks at it in pure rage. But then you can see in her face quickly understands what's happened. That is the end of Findral's turn. Endros is unable to take reactions. Okay, so he can still act. Okay, he's going to target Nios for sure. since he's after killing a bunch of people. Okay, here. So because he's not here, it's going to be one of you gentlemen. Oh, you are here.
I'm here. I am here. Yeah.
So please make me a dexterity saving throw.
Dex, you got it. Oh shit! Well, that's a nat 20.
Nice. Okay, so then you will take half. Yep. Okay, so you'll take 10 fire damage, and you are on fire. Yep. So you're on fire. You'll take 3d6 fire damage at the start of each of your turns until you take an action to put yourself out. He basically has cast Immolate on you. He like puts out both his hands in front of him, and fire just like leaps around you, and like you go up in flames. Although most of your runes and wards are in place, since you're able to like resist the worst of it, but you're definitely on fire. Your robes are on fire. That was Endros. Goranum is dead, has been crushed into ice. Urala. Okay, so you can see this neophyte of the College of Conjuration. She begins waving her hands around. She says, "Faccio voco fere," and a little portal opens, and from it steps an earth elemental. It like smashes its fists together and begins moving towards the nearest one of you, which is Nyos. Kara is stunned, so she has been partially frozen. She's standing there unable to move for this turn. Tharm, oh my god, how many of these gentlemen are there? Too many. Why did you put 9 dudes, well, 9 wizards on this encounter, Lloyd? Why was that a good idea? Why did you do that? Okay, so this of the, oh, I fucked it up. Okay, so this guy will be the illusionist because I made Endros the evocationist. So he begins waving his hands around and summoning something from the ether. You can see he takes out like this little wisp of cotton wool and like sends it into the air. And I'm going to need oh, okay, bad choice. So I'm going to need Florian to make an intelligence saving throw, please.
So that's a okay. So plus 6, a 25.
Yeah. Okay. So not even close. You can tell that he's like trying to mess with your mind and encourage you to believe that something is there that is not. But you're well wary of these kind of effects, and you shake it off without any sort of issue. Norala. She is going to reach out towards your mind, Nyos. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw. You are immune to being charmed, are you? Because of your spell? Are you? You muted, Mike, sorry.
That is just the story of my life.
It's the Lasham special.
That's right. Yes, I am immune to... Wow, I'm immune to a lot more stuff than I thought. I am immune to the charmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to have for now. So she begins to like cast a spell, and like you can hear similar sort of whispers as Aegon described in your mind, and you just like shrug them off. You're just like, that's an annoying fly next to my ear. This mageling dares to try and mess with your power, and nothing happens of it. And then Priya is going to... Yeah, okay. God, so many spells. Why? Okay, so I'm going to need Florian to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
I was muted.
Yep.
So that's going to be a 12. I only rolled a 2.
Oh my goodness. A success from a neophyte?
Okay.
Okay. So then you are affected by eye bite.
Oh, wait. I am sorry. One of my magic items gives me advantage on saving checks against magic spells.
Okay, then go ahead and roll again.
Yes, that is much better. So that is 15 plus 10, so that's 25.
Okay, well that is going to succeed.
So
Again, you can feel this this magic. This is like something you mastered 50 years ago, and it feels amateurish to you. The spells are not as finely crafted, nor as subtle, nor as powerful as the things that you can make. And you can feel this like eye bite spell beginning to manifest, and you just like brush it aside with a casual word. And we go back to the top of the order to you, Florian.
Okay, so yeah, Florian. Sorry, Florian just has the big demon in front of him, and or half blood in front of him, and the neophytes on his right, and he's just gonna shift back 5 feet while reaching again back to his pouch, and he's going to just come out with a handful of what seems like sand, but it's actually crushed gemstone, and he throws it out into the air and slams his staff down, and the sand crystals start to harden and form a wall of force, which is invisible. However, to him, he sees this shimmering wall form, and it is going to basically do a full circle around the half-blood in front of him, which is a dome with a radius of 10 feet. So I believe that should encompass him, or is he larger than that?
No, that works.
Okay, perfect. So yeah. So then if the DM agrees that he is not able to make an opportunity attack, he's going to shift towards the neophytes, getting closer to one of the
Actually,
ones at the end.
These guys both have Mage Slayer, so they can attack while you're casting a spell.
Okay.
I forgot that. They're here to protect her from wizards, and so they would know. But he'll attack you, but the spell, I think, still goes off. I don't think it affects your casting.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, boy. So that's a nat 20. That's bad. On the attack, which will be... I'm not going to roll for these guys. It takes too long. It'll be 30 slashing damage, but you'll take 15 because of your Blade Ward, I think.
Okay. Yeah. No, I would have had to have recast that.
Okay. So then you'll take 30 slashing damage.
Okay. Yeah, so as I'm doing this, he gets his sword through where the wall is going to be and just cuts me brutally across the chest. But my wall forms. And I do kind of move over towards the neophytes and sort of lean on my staff.
Okay, what is the spell? Is it Force Cage? That's what I'm thinking it is, but I'm not sure.
It's
I think
Wall
it was
of Force.
just actual Wall of Force.
Wall of Force. Okay, sure.
Wall of Force. Yeah, it's a spell built into the staff.
Okay, deadly. Cool. All right, so that's Florian. The Triarch has had enough of your bullshit. She is not happy at all with this situation, and she is about to rain down misery upon you. Okay. So she begins chanting, and you can see like clouds form overhead, and bad news follows almost immediately.
Well, actually, as she goes to cast this, Aegon's going to whisper some words, in just this abyssal language, and I'm actually going to try to counterspell as a reaction for spell.
Okay. I certainly would if I were you.
I'm guessing it's above level 3, which means I'll need to make a check.
It is a level 9 spell.
All right, so I need to make a DC 19 spell check.
Okay, hang on. I think there's something that she has that makes
Oh, that is a nat 20 on the die,
nice.
which makes you 33.
Okay, I feel like she had something about this. I don't remember. She had something to do with Candace, but it doesn't matter. There's too much shit going on here. Okay, so she like begins to like summon all this energy around her, and you like whisper these foul things, and you can see that just for a second she like mumbles the incantation, and the clouds begin to like fizzle away, and she is unhappy with that. What the fuck is she going to do now? All right, she's going to move further away to the very edge of the pyramid. So she's now 120 feet from where she started, or from where the neophytes are. And that's what she's going to do with her turn, I think. Yep, that's it. Okay, the fire elemental that she summoned steps forth. It's this like large ogre-like creature with like rippling red muscles and a scimitar in its hand, and it's going to hopefully fuck one of you guys to death. I have never had more things going on in Encounter in my entire life. Okay, so it opens its mouth and puts its hand in front of it, and it's going to summon a wall of fire on... No, that would kill all the neophytes. That's dumb. Okay, it's going to run forward as quick as it can, which is pretty damn quick. It can fly 60 feet, so it flies towards, and it's going to land next to you, Nios, and it's going to attack you. Okay, twice. Oh, fuck, with a crit and a 23. So I think both of those probably hit. You're going to take 40 for the crit and then 20 for the normal attack, slashing and fire. So this like Ifrit, this like large ogre-like creature comes up to you and just like with this like ponderous scimitar, moves alarmingly quickly and manages to slash into you twice. Irgal the Black is stuck behind this wall of force. I don't know what that means. I'm going to look it up.
It's a dome around him, actually, on all sides and above him.
Okay, and is there anything?
Yeah, there's only one thing he could do.
Okay, what is that thing?
That is disintegrate, I believe.
Oh shit! So he's just like sitting in there. I'm picturing that scene from The Phantom Menace where like Darth Maul paces up and down in front of the laser screen. He's just like smacking his sword against it occasionally and like looking with utter hate at you.
Yeah, that's why when he slashed me, I just lit away. Like, come out of here.
Yeah, so he just like is pacing up and down. He doesn't know what the fuck he's supposed to do. He cannot cast Disintegrate, and so he's like taking his sword and he's just smashing it against the wall of force, but unable to do anything in there. Aegon, it's your turn.
Aegon walks a little bit closer to the fray from where he had Misty stepped away. And as he gets a little bit closer, he reaches down into his pouch and he pulls out like a perfectly spherical black pearl. And he begins whispering these demonic words, and the pearl begins to crush and crack and just becomes dust in his hand. As he tosses it out, it begins to circle the air around this group of neophytes. And as many neophytes as I can get in a 60-foot radius, possibly if I can get the earth and or fire elemental in there too.
Yeah.
I would like to just hit this mass group. And as the dust begins to settle, suddenly there's just this warping and like rotting, and just this blast of this black energy just goes out like a shockwave as he casts Circle of Death. So I will
Sick.
need con saves DC 21
Okay.
against
So
as
here's
many people in a 60-foot radius I can get.
if you want to get the Ifrit, you also have to get Nyos, because he's engaged with Nyos. But if you like moved it away from there, you'd be able to not get him.
Yeah, I'll pass on the Ifrit then and go for as many neophytes and or earth elementals as I can.
Okay, sure. And they need to make a what save?
Constitution 21.
Oh boy. Okay. They did not do well. 4, 9, 9, 8, 17, and 1. So one of them makes it.
Alrighty, so that will be 35 necrotic damage for everybody who fails, and 17 for the one who passed. As this wave of negative energy just like shockwaves through all of them.
Okay, so the neophytes who had been already blasted with the cone of cold are barely standing, and when you drop this circle of death upon them, it's too much for them. They're not prepared for this level of magical onslaught, and 5 of them drop dead. They like wither immediately, like aging advance, and you can see like their bones and stuff start to appear as their skin like sloughs off them, and they just like skeletons fall to the ground. The earth elemental is left standing and confused, unsure of like who the hell brought it here or what's going on. I actually think it might vanish, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to say it stays around. It's like looking around in confusion. Jesus. Okay. Halrathine, your turn.
Well, Halrathine has had absolutely enough of this shit. I'm having a look at all my pretty spells. Excuse me. Here's a quick question for you.
There.
How far away am I from the Triarch?
You're about 120 feet away.
Well, ain't that a fucking thing?
She's been running pretty consistently.
Yeah. Okay. I will. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take this this Ifrit, and I'm just going to go ahead and cast. No, I'm going to need that one. It's like I want this one, and I'm going to need this one, and I'm going to need this
Tell
one.
me about it.
All right. Have you got 2d12 handy there, Lloyd?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and cast, and I'm going to use Overchannel. So I'm going to use it again. So I'm going to take 2d12 necrotic damage.
Okay.
And I'm going to cast Ice Storm, and I'm going to center it on myself because I want the Ice Storm to also take the flames off me because I'm on fire.
Yeah.
I'm on fire. And it's going to do maximum damage to the Ifrit, which means that's going to be 16 plus 24 is 45 cold damage. If he doesn't make a dex save.
Okay. And what's the area effect for Ice Storm?
It's a 20-foot radius and a 40-foot high cylinder.
Okay. So you'll also get one of the... No, they're dead anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay. So he gets a 14, which is not good. So he will take, did you say 40? 45?
45.
I wonder, he's not vulnerable to cold. He's immune to fire. But he still takes 45. Okay. Yep. So he is smashed with this huge, like, jagged piece of ice that just like crashes into his shoulder and sends him sprawling to the ground for a moment. And you can see all this steam like rising off his skin as the ice hits around him. You would have taken 12 from the 2d6.
12, okay. And then I will probably tuck and roll out of being in that Ifrit's face.
Yep, that makes sense to me. So he's been knocked back. You're able to move away from him, and are you moving your full speed, like 30 feet away?
Yeah, I'm going to move 30 feet away, probably in the direction of the Triarch. I don't know if I can, like, if I can just, like, I don't know if I can juke around the dude. And then I'm going to move 30 feet towards the Triarch. So I think I'm now 90 feet away.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Aegon.
Aegon begins to walk as well towards the Triarch, and he thinks, like, there's no way, but it's worth a Hail Mary chance. And he holds out his hand towards the Triarch one more time. Again, these evil words. And I need the Triarch to make a DC 21.
Wisdom, did you say?
Intelligence, actually.
Intelligence. Okay.
It's like this.
Yeah, she makes it.
I don't think anything happened. Ill. Okay, take some damage. So it whispers these words, trying to directly, hoping to break her mind from within. And she able to stave off the attempt, but will take 12 psychic damage.
Okay, no problem. She's actually immune to psychic damage. So you can, like, feel the spell kind of, like, try to smash through, but there's, like, wards in place, and some sort of spell has been cast to ensure that this kind of thing cannot happen to her, and she resists. Anything else from you, Aegon?
Nope, that is it. Use my movement to get closer to the Triarch, but
okay, no problem. So we're going to take a super quick break there. Go for a wee, get some water, go for a smoke. We'll be back in 5-ish minutes. That was okay, yeah. All right, see you guys in a sec. I am back. So this has been a challenging game so far for me. I don't tend to run, I guess if you watch my channel, you'll know I don't tend to run magical games. I tend to run Iscloff, which is like brutal, low fantasy sort of stuff. This is totally out of my wheelhouse and very hard to manage. There's like a lot of stuff going on. Wizards are very complicated, and trying to run 10 of them was probably a mistake. Also, I underestimated how powerful 18th level characters are and how they can just clear the board of minions. So the neophytes are pretty much gone. Also, some of these spells are ridiculous. Wall of Force seems outrageous, and I love it. But yeah, honestly, it's really difficult to run this sort of level. Like, the characters, like players have so many options, and I, as the Triarch, have so many options that I don't know what the best option is. I don't have enough time to think about what the best option is because I'm not just playing a character. I think it would be easier to run a wizard as a character than as an NPC because I also have to manage all the other stuff going on. plus like summon creatures and stuff like that. It's seriously difficult. I probably won't do this again. Like, I'm having fun doing it, but I also think that, like, yeah, I find it difficult.
All right, I'm back.
Hey.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of what you were saying there, and yeah, it's pretty. Like you're saying, it's fun, but like, good lord, is it like a lot?
It's so swingy as well, right? Like, Mike was able to do 69 damage to like 6 people, and like Wall of Force is just like taking one of the NPCs out of the fight. It's just like, what?
Just
like,
trapped in a dome of.
Yep. Super interesting, but like I was just saying, I don't know if you heard that, like, managing a wizard character is like difficult enough, but then trying to manage a wizard NPC and 9 other wizard NPCs and 2 like warriors who are demons, and then also like the summoned creatures and stuff like that. There's a lot.
Yeah, having
manage.
nine apprentice wizards was very ambitious.
Yeah, well, what I did with them is I planned their first turn. Like, I gave them all a spell that they would cast, so I had like an idea. But then they all just fucking died, like, pretty much straight away, you know?
Yeah, I mean, with you throw a couple of AoE spell set out at a group, and
yeah,
those will hit hard. Like, Circle of Death is just 8d6 necro damage to everybody. Like
just
get even a decent roll, and that's. Yeah. 18 tabs open right now with all these different spells, like reading all like the fine print on everything. Like, it's a lot.
And I feel like there's way better tactical decisions I could be making if I was playing the wizard as a character, because I could like look at the spells and decide what was best. But like, because I'm running so many things, I just cannot process properly what the best tactical decision is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of work it would take to like properly sort out like all these intricate tactics with like a group of like 10 wizards, elementals, demons. Like, you'd have to like prep the encounter for hours.
For sure. And I don't like to do that. You know, I want to avoid doing that as much as possible, because I much prefer to be reactive. But I think in a situation like this, you actually have to do a lot of prep if you want the encounter to feel as dangerous as it should be. Because I feel like she's not making the right decisions. Like, she should be doing something else, you know?
Yeah, and like there's a certain like ease of like planning. Like, when you're playing, like, you would think that like having like a million like different options with all these additional like abilities and spells would make it easier to find the optimal move, because you'd have like certain tools for certain things. But it's so much more difficult when you have all these different tools to actually try to balance them. Like, as a fighter, you can kind of just like, well, as far as like, I want to move here and try to do this, but like at the end of the day, you're probably still making an attack roll or an athletics check or something like that.
Yep.
It's the paradox of choice.
Like, with this, it's like she has like so many spells, you know, like as a 30th level caster, she has so many, and I just like cannot like make the right choice. There's so many choices, and like I'm just like, I don't know the spells well enough either, I guess. If I ran lots of high magic games, I might have a better understanding of like what the good spells are and which spells are bonus actions, so she can like maximize her. But I just don't know, you know. Every time someone says a spell, I'm like Googling it, you know. So
yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like you can, like, to be fair, like, I think the only way you could play a level 30 spellcaster like optimally and like fluidly is if you had like played that character from the ground up. Like, you started them as like a level 3 wizard and you've been playing them for a year, in which you built up to level 30. But just like dropping in the middle of nowhere, there's no way.
But yeah, I was always curious as to like what exactly the power level is of some wizards of this level, and it's shocking, like disturbing, I think, you know, like just fucking nuts. Like, those were like 9, and they were like from the book, the fucking, what are they called, Archmage or whatever, you know, and you guys fucking wrecked them, like 9 of them, you know, just pissed all over them. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like you try to set the bar like extremely high for what your expectations will be, and it's still not even close. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be nuts, but it's more nuts than I thought it would be. I also think that this encounter needs a battle map, and I never use battle maps, but I think that for like spell ranges and stuff like that, and like AoE and like it's really useful because I find it really hard in my mind to picture, what 60-foot cone looks like and what that sort of stuff. It's
yeah.
harder to imagine than like, can you reach him? Yeah, he's 30 feet away. Good, then hit him with your sword. Which is what I'm used to.
Are we dead yet?
No, sir, not quite yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's things are looking up.
They certainly are. So you just went Aegon, right? Yeah. So then it's going to be your turn, Mike.
Didn't they go back and... Did it just
Didn't
go...
Mike go right before me?
Oh,
Yes,
okay. That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I did.
I did the wrong
by
order.
accident.
Okay, that's fine. So then it would be Fingdral, right? Yeah. So he is going to continue trying to attack the Triarch, since that's what he's dominated to do. He misses the first. The second one will actually connect. Let's see. Okay, so you see that like the first one swings over her head. She's like chanting and dodging, but the second one managed to like slice at her shoulder. But you can see that there's like some sort of magical ward. You would have seen this if you've ever dealt with abjurers. She has some sort of like physical magical ward, and there's like a shield that springs up and protects her as he tries to connect. So that was him. The last remaining neophyte is still alive with her earth elemental. She is going to let's see. Yeah, she's just gonna look at you, Nios, and she's gonna try and cast a fire bolt at you. Ooh, with a 21 to hit. Excellent. Actually managed to connect. So you're gonna take 16 fire damage. As it smashes into you, she then like sends the earth elemental over towards you, trying to crowd you with as much as possible. And it is going to move. It's not going to be able to get to you quite yet. And then we're back to the top of Florian.
Okay. So Florian had moved over to where the neophytes were, but they're basically all gone. So there's pretty much nobody in front of him now. He's just 120 feet away from the Triarch.
Yep.
Okay. And that one neophyte that was left moved towards Neos. So I'm imagining like across the battlefield to the left.
Exactly. Yep. So
Okay.
she's probably 60 or so feet from where you are.
Okay. So I'm going to move towards both the Triarch and her. My movement speed is only 30, so I'll only, of course, get halfway to her. But as she is moving towards Nios, I'm going to cast. I'm going to cast Thunderclap.
Okay.
So towards her, missing Nios through 100 feet. So I don't know actually if there's anyone behind her. But she'll need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, she gets a 15.
Okay, 15. My spell DC is 18, so she's going to take 16 thunder damage.
Okay. So there's like this, maybe you clap your hands, thunderclap like rolls out, and she is like shaken as she's standing, although she is still alive, amazingly, somehow hanging on. Is that it for you?
That is it for me.
Okay. The Triarch, seeing the way this is going and unhappy with the situation, is going to begin casting, and she is going to... Yeah. So she has had enough. She is going to begin swirling her arms around. She's going to cast a spell. Any counter spells before I go through this? You have to be within 60 feet for counter spell, which I checked. Okay, so then no.
I think that puts me out, yeah.
Okay. Oh god. Okay, so fuck. Right. So in a 40-foot radius sphere, she will be able to get both Nios and Florian. I don't think you've moved up quite enough yet, Aegon. You moved 30 feet, did you?
I was lagging behind a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then the two of you, I'm going to need dexterity saving throws, and I would pray to your tiny gods that it's good.
And I have advantage for my magic item. Okay. So that's 18.
Okay, so that's not going to make it. 21 is also not going to make it.
Do you need to use a die roller? I have a feeling you need to use a die roller.
I do need. I'm just double checking exactly what this joke of a spell does.
Joke of a spell. Oh, God.
Okay, so because she's casting it at 18th level, that is not a joke. As a 30th level caster, she can do that. She has an 18th level spell slot. She's going to be able to summon extra meteors. So one. Okay, so she has the far. So okay, this is a long story. I'm not going to bore you with the mechanics. I'll tell you after the game. But basically, she's able to get all three of you, and I'll need you to make a save as well, Aegon. And I'm going to roll just a million dice. Okay, so then they'll each take 68 fire damage and 58 bludgeoning damage. So she begins to call out, and she's like chanting this deep sort of chant, "In Certus Pulcher Imperio," and as she does so, just meteors begin to like fall from the sky and pelt all around the place. One of them like smashes into the wall of force. She thought that might work, but it doesn't. And just like you're each hit with these meteors smashing down upon you. That's going to be her action. She is then going to use her movement to move further away and down the steps a little bit, going out of sight. And that's going to be the end of her turn. The Ifrit is going to rush towards you. He has to make a save as well, since he is right next to you.
I'm just gonna ask. So that damage you had said was how much again?
It was 68 fire and 58 bludgeoning.
Yeah, I'm so fucking dead. It's not even funny.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, dude, I had 48 HP left. I'm so far. Yeah, like I'm dead and a half. Matter of fact, I can only imagine. Although, here's something funny, and I don't know if you want to do this for shits and giggles or giggles and shits, whichever you know. As this meteor is coming straight down, and I know it's the end. Even half would kill me. I'm gonna take the staff, seeing the Efreet and everything else. I'm just going to take my staff of power and just smash it, break it on the ground.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What happens?
Here's the kicker though, and normally I would have a 50% chance of instantly traveling to a random plane of existence to avoid the explosion. But for the fact that I'm dead, I'm just gonna wave that away.
No, I will allow it. That's what the staff does. And so if you manage to roll it, I'm going to say there's less of a percentage. Let's say there's 20% chance, right? That you are teleported. So roll me a percentile and get 20 or under.
Actually, you roll me the percentile. Do it.
Gladly.
I will kill you myself.
35. So yeah, no dice.
Okay. So the thing is, so if I will take every creature in the area must make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw.
What is the area? How big?
Well, it varies.
Okay.
So basically 10 feet away or closer. So on a failed save, a creature takes an amount of damage based on how far away it is from the point of origin. So if it's 10 feet away or closer, it's 8 times the number of charges in the staff, which is 20. So it takes 160 points of damage.
Okay, so the Efreet explodes, is vaporized by the explosion.
Now, if it's 11 to 20 feet away, it takes 6 times the number of charges in the staff, which is 120.
Okay.
If it's 21 to 30 feet away, it takes 4 times the number of charges in the staff, which is 80.
Okay, is there another band?
There is not.
Okay. I don't remember exactly how far away Florian is from you. This is why a battle map would be useful, but I'm not sure. I don't think that he's within 30 feet, but I'm not sure.
I was about 30 feet from the neophyte that was about to attack him.
Okay, yes. So then... Oh, she's dead too. The neophyte's so fucked. But also
Right.
you will take that damage as well. And the Earth Elemental is also dead. Okay, so there's just this moment where the Triarch begins incanting this awful spell. The sky begins to shake almost like it's falling, and then just and in your last moments, Nios, you take the staff and you smash it into the ground. It breaks, and there's another almost nuclear explosion spreading outwards. Vaporizes yourself, the elemental, the neophyte, and poor Florian. Just all of you within that area, I think. Right? If you were next to the neophyte, then you would be gone.
Didn't you have to roll against something?
For the staff? Oh, you gotta make saves,
Yes.
yeah.
You do have to roll a dex save or you get half.
Yeah, I rolled a 19 plus 4. I rolled 23.
Dude. You saved.
What was
But I don't know if
half?
half of what? Because I might not have made it anyway.
So if you were closer, so I'm assuming the neophyte was on the outer band.
Yeah, the furthest.
You would have taken 40.
Okay, and still taken the damage from the meteor.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm toast.
Yeah, so there's just this ultimate destruction. One of the meteors smashes into the summoning circle at the center of the ziggurat, and you can see this crack run down and magical energy spilling out into the sky. The sky has turned purple and red, just this awful magical discharge. Everywhere that you look, the air is thick with it. The hair is standing up all over your body, almost like electricity in the air from the sheer power that has been exerted here. And the Triarch runs down the steps hoping to get away. Jesus Christ, that was dumb. Although the demon is safe within his dome of force until you die, so he wouldn't have been hit by the meteor strike, which is weird poetic justice. And then the other demon was next to the Triarch, so he wouldn't be hit either. but he will swing at her when she runs away. And does hit. Okay, so that was the Triarch's turn. Jesus fuck. Ifrit's dead. Irgo the Black is the one who was in the Dome of Force. I guess that's gone when you die. And so he like looks around and beats his wings once and flies after the Triarch in an attempt to save her from his brother. Aegon, you have seen the world end. You have seen fire rain from the sky, a power the likes of which even you have not seen before.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine he probably dies. I mean, because that meteor swarm took me out.
Oh, okay.
I was at, which was max health. I hadn't been hit. Did like 156. So.
Jesus. Yeah.
Kudos to you for not getting hit at all. That's awesome. Like seriously, that is really impressive.
Yeah, but I did have a little contingency which I messaged you about. That won't really affect the story much.
Go for it.
Basically, like as Aegon dies as well, just the chaos is completely around there. Just Hallerthine and Florian were completely vaporized. Like Aegon bleeds out, the demon probably finishes him off. Like we move away from there, and we see like this stone room made entirely of stone, floating just in nothing, like in pure space. But we see like this clay jar surrounded by all these torches in this room, words scrawled all over it. We see part of the jar begin to crack and fall apart. And as this mountain of like sand and other and mix and powders pour out of this broken clay jar, we see remarkably like Aegon, but like 20 younger, like he's like 25 years old. Spitting image of Aegon. It's over, he flips this miniature chest in the corner of this room. A chest appears from thin air. He pulls out an amulet and a ring from the chest and puts them on as Aegon inhabits his clone's body, putting up his spell book in this demi-plane and just laughing, just maniacally.
That's awesome. So the last thing that we would see on the ziggurat is just like flaming heaps and like this like noxious black smoke. The demons would like walk through it, like breathing in the scent, enjoying every second of it. And they would like reach down to your bodies and like pull the priceless artifacts from you. The Triarch would like come back and like look around. She would like use a ceremonial dagger to like cut through the rib cage and like pull the heart from each of you, for profane rituals that she will do later. And she would just look at the two demons and say, "All went according to plan." And we'll probably end it there. Thank you for playing, gentlemen. That was interesting. I don't know how you guys felt about that game. I really struggled with it. It was like way too much for me to handle. And I probably won't run another high-level Magic game in my career. Although I say that every time I do it, so who knows?
I don't know, man. No, I think it was really good, but I agree that, yeah, probably a battle map, especially when you're dealing with cones and cylinders and cubes and everything else, a battle map probably would have been ideal. But it's tough because, you know, where do you go? Like, how do you do it? Yeah. Like, it's, you know, unless you're on roll 20, in which case, then that's a different story. But that being said, yeah. Now, it's too bad because I was really hoping to cast Meteor Swarm, but
I can't believe that it was one spell. Like, to me, that encounter was going horribly for her. Like, she was getting fucked, right? She was just getting like battered by her demon bodyguard, and like it was all going wrong, and like the neophytes were all dead. And I was like, okay, I'll just cast Meteor Storm and see what happens. Not expecting it to be that effective at all. But like it's 40 d6 of damage, and like it's just nuts, like nuts.
Yeah, I mean, like the average damage, not even max, the average damage for Meteor Swarm is around 120 to 130.
Right.
Like, assuming you roll 3s and 4s, like if you roll max, it's 240. Like, literally any character is immediately obliterated. Like I was at max health and was still not even close to surviving.
Yeah.
Like
One of
level
the
18
things-
wizard
yeah.
at max health, I should say.
So I'll explain what happened. So she is a level 30 caster. I have this epic level handbook. And so one of the things you get is a spell that you can, a wizard spell that you can add any sorcerer's meta magic to. That's like 30th level is what you get. And then you get these like high level spell slots so that you can cast spells at higher levels so that they, keep going up in damage or whatever. And so she cast Meteor Storm at 18th level, which means that she can summon, it's actually like 7 meteors she can summon. So rather than just one that does 40d6, she summoned 7 of those fuckers, just all over the place. So like, this is not an official document, whatever, but like, I can imagine that it was like this in the previous editions when you got to epic level. It's just nuts. Like, and even if you didn't have that stuff, even just like one meteor storm would have killed you guys, like a normal meteor storm. And I didn't expect that at all. I thought that you guys would have been like hurt, but like managing, but like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, you got to understand too, though, is that like, if you're looking at something like a barbarian or a fighter, who just like, hey, you need some more HP? Here's a shovel. Here's some more HP, and we're just going to force feed it. Because you can get barbarians up to well over 200 HP. I mean, they're just like big slabs of meat. But I mean, with a wizard, wizards are a bit more frail. Like I thought, with the items that I had. And even with the amulet of health, which raised me up to a 4, +4 con, and I had 146 HP. It still didn't take long because especially if you have you start getting ganged up on, right? So I mean, and there's not a lot of spells that I can do to push people away or to kick things away, which is unfortunate. But it was funny because I was kicking myself because I wasn't sure which spell I wanted to use because I had 2 level 9 spells that I wanted to use. And I wanted to use Meteor Swarm for Marquise. Marquise, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, buddy. I really tried. I did. But another one I was going to use was Imprisonment.
Yeah, but the casting time for Imprisonment is like a minute, I think, or 10 minutes or something. Because I thought about using that as well, but the casting time is more than an action. And so it would have been so beautiful to just be like, and you're gone forever. But I think the casting was a little bit long. So she had, a bunch of 9th level spell slots because she was level 30. She had 3. So she cast Time Stop, and then she tried to cast Meteor Storm, and then actually cast it. But if that one had failed, it would have been, she would have had no 9th level spell slots left, which is something. But yeah, I really struggled with trying to play a person that has such intelligence because I don't, right? And so she would make much better decisions in that fight than I would. And that's always my problem with playing people who have 20 intelligence or above, It's that person is so much better at this than I am, and you really struggle to make it doesn't feel right when they're I don't know what I'm gonna do when it comes to spell, I guess, because they would just be thinking 10 steps ahead, and I think it's hard to embody characters who are that intelligent.
Yeah, I think that's why the reason that probably a third or more of my spell choices that I made for Aegon had nothing to do with this game directly. There was he had a demi-plane and a clone spell which came in because he died at the end. But, he has a 24 intelligence. Book of Vile Darkness lets him boost his intelligence up, which is the item that I had. The artifact was the Book of Vile Darkness. That's just beyond comprehension smart.
Yeah.
20 top 1% of intelligent people ever born.
Yeah.
Couple steps past, and it's to even try to imagine what that would be like.
Oh yeah, your mind. Well, exactly. Your mind is constantly going, and you're coming up with plans that are wait, what? That doesn't even make any. Oh, you clever bastard! But just times 20. So I mean, it's definitely a good thing to do. But I tell you, I wasn't now. And the thing was, see, going into that fight, I was curious as to whether or not I should have casting Sunburst was good, or I should have just went right in with Meteor Swarm.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Sunburst is
Because-
great. I was not
Because I'm
expecting
thinking, yeah, because I was thinking with Sunburst, it's like, oh, radiant damage.
Yep.
Demons hate that shit. You know, and that was the first thing. I was hoping that, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and blind them. And I don't know. I didn't think I would be able to blind the Triarch, but I thought, why not? You know, like
Worth
just
a
give
shot.
it a shot. Yeah, because I mean, if the Triarch is blinded, it's like great. You know, can't see nothing, can't do nothing, and then just unload spells.
Yeah, I mean, I went for a feeble mind, like on the Triarch.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way she was gonna there's no way she was gonna fail that save with advantage and like a plus 18 intelligence or whatever.
Right.
It literally would have been like have to crit fail or nothing. But like again, like if somehow she rolled like a nat 1 and a 2, it just would have been encounter over. She has 1 intelligence, 1 charisma, and can't take actions. Like,
Oh yeah, you would have.
Anymore.
Yeah, that would have broken it. Like that would have
She would
been
just
like,
be
all
a
right,
drooling idiot, and the encounter would be over, right? Like, there's nothing that she can do at that stage. It's just over.
yeah, there's just
and
so
that's,
many
like,
spells that like
yeah.
literally just do that. Of just like, oh well, game over. Like,
Yeah, that's why I
one
struggle with
spell,
like
everyone's-
magic of this level, because I find that like it's so hard. Like, it can just, and we talked about this before the game, there are spells that like alter the game world, and like in such a way that like you can't. I find it so hard to imagine a campaign where you have this kind of power, right? And it probably won't for a long time. But even if you're playing like from 1 to 20, you know, you'll have a long time where you're 18, 19, and you have so much power. And like, it's so hard to understand how you could run a campaign where characters can like do all this stuff. I really struggle with it as a concept. And it's particularly because I'm used to like running Iskloft, which is like very low magic, and like I'm just like not used to this kind of like power in the bad guys or in the players, you know?
you got to think. You got
Yeah,
to think
I
too,
mean-
though. I mean, everything just kind of bumps up, right? So I mean, if you're
Yeah.
level 18, you know, at that stage, you're fighting creatures that will have a bunch of minions that will wear you down, and by the time you get to the big bad, then yeah, all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, you know, we're fighting a death tyrant, but we've just been like had our like crap pushed in by, you know, undead ogres and you know, zombie beholders that, you know, we're too weak to fight against this death tyrant, and now we're fighting against all this stuff. So by that point, you're getting, you know, your health is just getting like chopped, like cut away, death by 1,000 cuts. All of a sudden, you come to this death tyrant, and you're like, we got this, and then boom, all of a sudden, everything you're killing is just getting raised back up by this death tyrant because it has that ability, right? And it's just all powerful. So I mean, I know what you mean. Like, you know, you could just meteor swarm your way, like, you know, to it. But then at the same point in time, is that, well, you know, how much can you really do it? Or even with 4 wizards, you know, like fighting an ancient red dragon is still pretty damn tough. Exactly. So I mean, you know, like you have a creature that flies around that messes things up. Its breath is like, you know, it's just an incinerator. So I mean, you know, and even then, it's like, I don't know, I can't remember what an ancient red's breath weapon does. I think it's something ridiculous. It's like 8D nonsense. So I mean, you know, you're just gonna get the shit kicked out of you. That's why party balance is always a big thing.
Yeah. I mean, like at the same time, though, it'd be just as easy in that situation. Like if the party takes a bad breath weapon, you can just be like, okay, well, I'll just like plane shift everybody to my personal demi plane. We can take like a couple months to recover, and we'll like the cleric will just cast a healing spell. We'll be all fine. I'll cast Wish, Fabric of Reality to my whim, and then we'll go have another go. Like it's just there's so much.
And even like trying to think of like for the Triarch, for example, right? She's got like a beyond genius level intellect and unlimited resources. And so how can you possibly defeat this person? Like, to me, it seems impossible. She would be surrounded, like, and the encounter here obviously like would never have happened. She would never be this alone or this vulnerable because she's like way smarter than that. And she would always have, so the idea that I had in my mind is like this demon summoning ritual requires lots of magical power, and so she had like lured you here. She knew you were coming and wanted to kill you here so they could summon the demon. Because you went to that bar and you were like, you turned a guy to stone, and it was pretty, so somebody there would have said like, oh, there was a fucking red wizard in that bar, 3 of them, and then that would have gotten back to her or something, right? In my mind. But like, how can you possibly outfox someone with all those resources and like, yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like a wizard that's 12 levels above 18th level, like she was gonna decimate us regardless. That's like, I mean, it's like 5th level, like, hey, go fight that Tarrasque. It's like, we have to, yeah.
Well, okay. So hit points wise, she wasn't that beefy, even for a wizard. Like for a 30 level character, she had like 240 hit points or something. So like a good hit would have fucked her up pretty badly. But she did have lots of wards in place and like magical protection and stuff. Like her AC was 21, I think, and that was with all of the magical stuff in place. And like she was like mortal and vulnerable. She just had she was glass cannon, right? She had like crazy damage and stuff like that, but like very vulnerable potentially. But I was trying to just like, I think what actually would have happened in that situation is like she would see you coming and be like, oh fuck, and then just teleport away. Like, yeah. Like, why would she stay and fight you? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I guess you got to suspend your disbelief sometimes when you're running games like this, because like otherwise there just wouldn't have been an encounter, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it was like I think we were talking about this a little bit, like when you and Rob did the hangout the other day, of like how can you have like wizards at this level who aren't just like batshit crazy? Like it doesn't make sense for them not to just be absurd and like completely abusive and paranoid, and just like they would never ever do anything that wasn't 100% within their control, because they can control anything and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like it's so tough to like imagine what this interactions would be like. Forces that are so beyond like that, like to try to think about how somebody with that kind of power would act, like it's not.
Yeah. It's tricky.
Yeah. I mean, the upside to playing a long campaign where you grow over time is at least you're more familiar with your own spells at that point. Because, I mean, we had some time to read up, and, there's a lot. Like, between the spells and the magical items, there's just so many things to be factored in. So, I guess that...
Yeah, like I have like 9... tabs open on my computer right now, and like other pages, character sheet, and these, and it's so much.
And then you think that Lloyd has like that for like 17 individual.
My brain is falling out of my nose.
He is plus a level 30.
We'll say though, I think I'm going to keep this character. I'm probably going to use him for an evil NPC
for sure, man.
Like
He'd make a great villain.
Like just a villain I can stick in Althera or something. Someone who kind of wants a town.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's pretty crazy to me about this session is like our players could be like ads for a long super campaign, like, and like the 3 of them together still like couldn't beat this super mega ultra villain, like.
I will say though, if we had a 4th,
if Mr.
we probably would have been
Rob
okay.
was here.
Some kind of bastard imperial pig dog Englishman had made an appearance.
Whoa! Easy. Take a breath. Have some Guinness. It's gonna be okay.
I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you if you watched. I hope you enjoyed this clusterfuck, and I'll see you next time.